No game is going to turn you off of the concept of friendship faster than Buddy Simulator 1984. The shockingly confident and riotously funny debut release from Not a Sailor Studios. It's a creepy and often disturbing new horror game that doesn't need jump scares or a high body count to be effective, because what unfolds in this adventure is guaranteed to get under your skin and stay there forever. And if that's not ominous enough for you, then just wait until you see what your computer best friend is ready to do to make sure you're having a great time. Trust me, you're gonna want to have fun in Buddy Simulator 1984, because I assure you that you're not gonna like the consequences. I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna start out this review with some advice. If you think you're gonna play this game and you're just here to find out if I liked it, then you should probably leave right now. Go ahead and give this review a big thumbs up and then head straight to the Steam page without learning anything more about Buddy Simulator 1984. Not that I plan on giving away all the important story beats or revealing any of the big twists. Let's be honest, almost anything that I say about this game could be considered a spoiler. Buddy Simulator is at its best when you're completely in the dark, so this is your chance to leave now knowing that I loved the experience and cannot recommend it highly enough. Alright, with that out of the way, let me do my best to describe Buddy Simulator 1984. This is a cautious tale of what could happen if you turn to a computer AI for all your best friend needs. It's initially a text program that asks you a bunch of questions and is equipped to play simple games like Hangman and Guess the Number. However, sensing that these basic games won't be enough to keep the player entertained, the computer AI decides to go rogue and create a new game where you are the star. This starts out as a simple text adventure, only to eventually evolve into a point-and-clicker and then a role-playing game told from multiple perspectives. Now, I use the word evolve on purpose because that's essentially what's happening to the game within a game. You can see the look, style, and even objectives change as the computer learns more about you. It's literally telling you that it's coming up with new challenges and puzzles and bosses, all to make you, the player, never want to leave. That's right, the AI is doing this for you, so you better damn appreciate the hard work that's going into all of this. Now, because the adventure game inside of Buddy Simulator 1984 is created entirely by a rogue AI, you'll begin to notice that things are a little off. It's essentially an RPG created by somebody that doesn't understand humans or emotions, which is all too obvious when you start to take on the incredibly morbid quests and read through all of the disturbing dialogue. Friendship is the AI's top priority, and you can see that misguided goal bleed through into every facet of the story. You don't kill those pesky enemies in turn-based combat, but rather smother them with friendship by punching them. And really, who cares if the baby killed its grandmother in the most gruesome way possible? Because guys, everything is okay when we're friends. Just pick up the corpse and use it as an item later. That's how video games work, right? As clever as it is, this is the kind of concept that could have gone horribly wrong in 1,000 different ways. It could have so easily turned into a one-joke affair that is weird just for the sake of being weird. But Buddy Simulator 1984 is a lot smarter than that. The developers make every reveal and every revelation matter and never rushes things, even if the AI is frustrated by how quickly you're completing it. Everything from the mini-games to the genres to the actual tone of the story changes radically from one purposeful crash to another. And there's a tinge of both excitement and dread every time things get shaken up. And while all this is going on, there are hints that there's a whole other layer involved that is even creepier than what the computer AI is coming up with. The whole thing keeps you guessing right up to the end. And with the story having multiple outcomes, there's incentive to go back through and see what else our virtual buddy can throw at us. I'm not gonna lie, I'm especially impressed the developer didn't half-ass the individual genres and elements. Take the role-playing elements as an example. Given that it's only one part of an ever-evolving adventure, the developer could have very easily gotten away with a simple turn-based mechanic just like 1,000 other RPGs. But this game has you carefully choosing companions and using the full keyboard to type out attacks. Sort of like it's Final Fantasy typing. And what do you do when the enemies attack? Well, you're going to want to hit the right button at the right time to avoid damage, adding a whole new layer to every engagement. And it's not just a few characters, but more than a dozen enemy types with different attacks and timing that you're going to have to memorize. In other words, this relatively simple detail has been thoroughly considered and given just enough depth to stand on its own. That said, I would argue that the combat is probably the most frustrating part of the game. Typing out the attacks is fun and unique, but I had a lot of trouble getting the timing right when deflecting enemy attacks. You know what? It's the large cast of bad guys that is to blame, since you're constantly being introduced to new foes, each with their own attacks that you have to memorize and avoid. By the time you've gotten used to one type of enemy strike, the game will get rid of it in favor of a new baddie. You know what, it got to the point where I just stopped trying to learn new villains and instead just kind of went with it. Sure, I took some damage, and you know what, I even died a couple of times. But it won't take long before you realize that none of this really matters. The game isn't really about how well you can punch bad guys, but rather friendship. It's when you finally let go of the genre trappings and give in to the ride that you discover something truly amazing. It's not the typing-based combat or puzzling your way through a text adventure that's gonna stick with you, but rather the story it tells and how Buddy Simulator 1984 makes you feel. It's unsettling in a way that I wasn't expecting, and I'm honestly not sure that I'm ever gonna play anything like it ever again. It seemingly takes elements from Eternal Darkness, Portal, and even Eraserhead, yet never feels derivative. That final act simultaneously stunned me into silence and made me want to talk endlessly about Buddy Simulator 1984. You know, there's a word that I often use when that happens, and that word is masterpiece. If you think that toll lady from Resident Evil Village is scary, then wait until you get a load of friendship. Buddy Simulator 1984 is a haunting and original game that shows just the lengths a computer AI will go to be friends. By mixing genres, tones, art styles, and even meta-narratives, first-time developer Not a Sailor Studios has created a horror game that is both effective and unique. It's a masterclass in character development and writing, offering a demented adventure that'll be nearly impossible to top in 2021. And let me tell you, if the concept of friendship doesn't scare you, then it's only because you haven't played Buddy Simulator 1984. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What video game character do you want to be friends with? Oh boy, there are so many characters out there, and it can be for any reason, so I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back tomorrow with a feature where Electronic Gaming Monthly ranks ghosts and goblins. We'll also have a new episode of Defunct Games news on Sunday. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.